If you're just here for the van tour, then jump ahead to this time. But if you're here for the vlog, well, then it's Saturday, January 5th, and it's a good day to be alive. Okay, so I've been living in my car for close to a year now, and I believe that if I'm going to continue living on the road, I very well may be transitioning into van life. Now, although this lifestyle isn't for everyone, I think maybe I got bit by the bug. I honestly just think that I'm answering a call to adventure. But I didn't just want to get any van or the first van that comes my way. Reason being is because I'm looking for a strategy, a blueprint, if you will. I'm looking for something that will make this lifestyle sustainable, or this transition sustainable, and ensure that it will actually be a step up from the comfort and sustainability that I experience in my car. So I created a video a few days ago about my criteria for van life and the specific needs that I have. I found someone who met that criteria. His name is Josh. He's 32, from Knoxville, Tennessee, working as a bartender while living out of his van. Now Josh is currently residing on the glorious beaches of San Diego. Okay, so I just want to mention two things before we get started with the van tour itself. Number one is that it was extremely windy that day, and I didn't use this camera. I used the camera that I'm currently shooting on, the G7X, which doesn't have capacity for an external microphone, so I couldn't protect the audio essentially. Now, the reason I didn't use this camera is because I ran out of space. Occasionally, I am going to use subtitles. In addition, we were also parked near an airport. I should have of course seen this. So there was a bunch of airplanes and loud noises overhead, and during those times, I'll rely on subtitles too. Without any further ado, let's begin the van tour. That wasn't staged at all.
I know, right before you knock.
All right, so this is your van. What, Dodge Ram Promaster 2500?
Promaster 2500.
You said it was diesel, right?
It's a diesel model, yeah.
Why did you choose diesel?
Motor longevity.
Okay.
It gets 26 miles to the gallon.
26? Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah. And really, diesel's not that much more expensive right now, at least, than gasoline.
Okay.
But really, motor longevity, I wanted something that I could comfortably put like 500,000 miles on.
500,000 miles.
You can do that, man. I mean, if you see these old Sprinters running around, half of them have 300,000–400,000 miles on them, and they're still kicking.
And you're confident that you can get 500,000 miles off this, out of this rig? Okay, that's the goal? Okay.
Goal, yeah.
I respect that.
No, that would be ideal.
So is this what, rear wheel, front wheel, all wheel?
So it's front wheel drive.
Okay.
Which really makes it great for moving around in slick and snowy environments, because you've got the weight of that diesel motor sitting on top of the two front wheels that spin. So you get a lot more traction out of, for instance, a rear wheel drive.
Okay. How long have you been living in the van?
3 months now.
3 months.
Now,
what made you?
I've only been in San Diego for a week.
Okay.
But Knoxville, Tennessee, I moved into it 2 months before or 2.5 months before I came out here.
You've been staying here in this van for 3 months. I'm very eager to see what you've built.
So I actually built this out this past spring.
Okay.
I bought the van 2 years ago in 2016.
So for the actual tour itself, did you do anything to the front of the van? Is this a swivel chair? Did this come custom?
So there are brackets on each seat.
Okay, brackets.
Yeah, it's a bracket that you can add on in between where it would normally attach, and then it can spin it around. Both seats have the same bracket, but because of the sink, this one can now no longer really turn around.
Understood.
Yeah, but this one, honestly, the driver's seat never turned anyway. Even before I put the sink in, it was always this one that I would use and sit in, because it's closest to the door, and then it's not just kind of just open to everything.
Right.
Those things aren't cheap either. They're like $250 a bracket.
So, okay, if you were to do it all over again, you would not get that bracket and just get this bracket.
Yes, I would not invest. And honestly, that was the first one I bought. I bought that one, realized I was never using it because usually when you're in that seat, you're just driving.
Right.
So I bought this one. Yeah, I would not buy a bracket for the unless you have. Unless your plan for your build is to not have anything immediately behind the driver's seat,
Right.
then that bracket would make sense. But even then, rotating the seat was a pain in the ass because of the steering wheel. Like to get it all the way around, you can't recline in it because the steering wheel's in the way.
Right.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Good to know. And this you could also, I've seen van builds that use this as a desk and B,
Yeah.
a guest bed.
So I have seen, yeah, you can lay crossways. I have seen people install some kind of creation here where they've got it to where it raises up as a table.
Right.
And you can work under it and stuff like that. That's utilizing the space, but I don't know.
Can you stand in this van?
Yeah.
How tall are you?
So I'm 6'2".
You're also 6'2"? Okay.
And even with an inch of insulation under here, and I think these are about ½ inch in thickness, I still clear about a ½ inch. You can come in here too, yeah. I don't know if you can see my head at 6'2". Yeah.
No, perfect.
It works out pretty good. I've never banged my head on the ceiling.
So up here, additional storage space.
Yeah, this is just like what I would call my junk drawer.
Okay.
For people with a dresser. This is just where I keep random stuff.
Okay. Now this fan. So I've heard some people swear by owning a fan. Other people saying no, don't get a fan.
Yeah.
Get a skylight instead. What is your standpoint on this?
So it depends on it depends on what you plan on doing and where you plan on going.
Okay.
I really believe in these. I think they're absolutely fantastic because what they do a number of things. They're thermostat controlled.
Okay.
It has a remote that I keep back here. And basically I can control the fan anywhere in the van with this. And
Perfect.
then this allows me to set the thermostat. So mine's set at 80. So basically if it gets above 80 degrees in here, the fan will kick on.
Okay.
And you can change the direction of the air. I have mine set to out, so it sucks. So it pops on at 80 degrees and sucks all the heat out of the van. And I leave these two front windows open so it can create a wind tunnel, kind of. But it also that does something for me. It keeps me cool. On a hot day, it'll get up to 120 degrees in here.
Okay.
But when that thing's set at 80, it won't keep it at 80 degrees, but it'll keep it around 95.
So why did you choose to put it over there and not over the bed?
Well, if I could go back and do it again, my friend, I would. But honestly, I bought this after I bolted on the solar panels.
I understand.
Ideally, what I would like to have done,
Okay.
if I could go back and redo it, is put the solar panels up front.
Okay.
Install those up front, and then have the spot in the back for the van. That way, the fan is behind everything, sucking air out of the two front windows and drafting it all the way back and out the back of the van. That's ideal. Honestly, though, couldn't do it because I bolted the panels on first, and I'm not going to have a bunch of holes up there
Right.
from where I'm moving the panels around. So this was the only other way to do it. But it still works just fine.
Right, you made it work.
It still draws enough air out to cool the van down, and when it's 120 degrees in here during the day, when it's hot as hell outside, this refrigerators have a really hard time keeping anything cool inside. So it really helps that that fan can keep it around 90 degrees in here, even when it's insane outside. It just keeps my refrigerator from working overtime.
Okay, so
And it keeps, if you know anything about batteries, batteries don't like to get that hot.
Right.
Like you don't want your battery bank suffering from overheating back there. You can also shut this top vent and still have the fan running, so it just kind of moves the air around.
Okay.
So that's kind of a feature.
And there's no risk of leak with installing a fan, right? Or with having
there's obviously a risk of leak, but what I did, if you don't mind, I'm going to sit right here.
Go ahead.
If you don't, there's obviously a risk of leak because you're basically cutting a hole in the top of your van. And it's a 14-inch hole, so it's huge. What I did was I used obviously the silicone putty, and it's actually not that hard, but I went a step further. After you do what the instructions say, you just install the putty all the way around it, and then I actually went on top and installed it all the way around too. After it dried, I bought this stuff that I saw from a YouTuber who lived in a van. It's called Everbond tape.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Eternabond.
Okay.
Eternabond tape. It's like this wide, it's insanely sticky, and it's completely waterproof. And after all that silicone dried, I went around and taped on top of it, because what happens on a roof is silicone, even though you can buy the kind that say, oh, it's sunproof, it'll never wear down, it'll never turn yellow, it will. The sun will just beat it to death over time. So I put this tape on top of that. It doesn't have a reflective surface, it has a matte finish. So it doesn't absorb anything, and then you can cover the silicone with it. and it's still it's just another waterproof barrier. But it keeps the sun from beating the silicone to death.
Is this like something that you use as a blackout curtain over your driver's seat?
This right here?
Yes.
This is actually my towel, man.
This is your towel.
I bought this. It's called, I love this thing. This was one of the greatest discoveries ever. It's called Cabin Love.
Okay.
And it's literally a towel, and they call it the everything towel. So it is no joke. Like, it's this long, you know, and I use it for everything. I use it for my shower towel, so it's longer than me. So
okay.
It's like 6'3".
Right.
But this is the greatest towel I've ever been able to find. So not only because it's very thin and you can pack it down, so it folds up nice when you travel, but it's also long enough that you can take it to the beach and use it as a beach towel. You can do yoga on it or whatever.
Okay.
And you just use it for everything.
Brilliant.
And then because it's so thin, it dries really nice and quick.
So you don't use any blackout curtains at all?
Honestly, I have used this before.
Oh, you have?
It's long enough, I can just set it up. It doesn't cover the whole dimension, but it does cover enough that it keeps heat in when I'm heating the place. And it keeps people from looking directly inside.
That makes sense.
But I don't do that very often because I just don't care. Honestly, the only reason why I did it that night, or the couple of nights, was for heat retention.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So starting over here, this is the water sink. What made you decide to have a basin?
So the first time I ever traveled in it, I was gone for, I went all the way across the country from Knoxville, Tennessee to California, drove up to Seattle, and then came all the way back. And the whole time I really didn't have any way of washing my face or brushing my teeth that wasn't find a gym to do it, or basically sit right here with a bottle of water and a toothbrush and brush your teeth kind of out in public. So I was like, I want some way. It would be nice to have some way to do that. And because it's a sink, you can, like I can wash my pots and pans in it, stuff like that. So it does add that element also. But just to have some running water is a great feature, because now I can brush my teeth, wash my face, wash my hands, rinse out my pots and stuff without having to go inside somewhere. Because it's not, I don't care how long you've been doing this, it's not a good feeling to take a pot and pan into a gas station or into a rest area. You're never truly comfortable doing that. You kind of feel awkward. So to be able to do all that inside without anybody seeing you is like a traditional feeling of home. And then there's an electric pump under there that runs off the solar batteries. And then this is a common question I get, like, because people suggested to me, yeah, so I just got two 5-gallon tanks. This is the fresh water, goes up through the left side here. This side's not connected, so I just use this one. Electric pump powers it. I love this faucet. It has a little LED light that somehow is powered probably off the motion of the water, so I can see in pitch blackness in here and brush my teeth without getting everything everywhere. And this is my, what you would call your gray water tank or something. Now, I don't use any of those chemicals that they sell at the RV locations. What I do, because everybody was like, why don't you just drill a hole in the bottom of the van and just run it out through the ground? I'm like, I don't want to make a mess where I go and just have all that running out on the floor. So I just take that one and I just pour bleach into it. Like concentrated bleach that I keep right here. And it, just having bleach in there as it constantly mixes with everything that goes inside, toothpaste, you know, the dirt from your hands, your face, keeps it from growing mold. So it doesn't ever smell, you don't even know it's there. And then after, usually I'll go through 5 gallons in a week or two.
A week or
2 weeks at the most, depending on how.
Where do you replenish your water supply?
I just go to Walmart. Walmart has a station. Every Walmart has a little station machine, and I just shove it up there. It fills it up. I think it cost me $1.80. It's like 37 cents a gallon. Yeah.
Perfect.
Like that. Yeah.
Okay, so overall, you would not do anything differently than have this water station or water setup.
The only thing that I would do differently is if I could figure out, I don't have that much space in here. If I had like a Mercedes Sprinter extended, I would probably put a bigger sink with a deeper bowl.
Okay.
Because it is very shallow. Again, it solves it does what I want it to do. I can wash my face and hands and brush my teeth, but it does make it difficult to wash things in it.
Okay. Like, because it's not deep enough.
It's just not deep enough.
Right.
Yeah. You know, you can't fit a whole pot in there. So if it were deeper, it would be easier to not get water everywhere. So I'm constantly having to wipe down the counter and keep water off the walls. But the convenience is worth it.
Right. So moving on, I have the same stove, but you have a stove as well as a microwave.
$18 at Walmart.
Right.
Yep, and the gas canisters. I will say, though, here in California, people buy the crap out of these. They're so hard to find the canisters.
The cans for?
Yeah, it's so hard to find gas. Maybe it's just this time of year.
Okay.
I don't know, people use them for heat or whatever. But the propane heater I have under there.
Right.
The gas is always out. Every Walmart and Target I go to, they're always empty. But yeah, so that's what I cook on, and I have an aluminum pot that I use. Just one. Yeah.
So how often do you use the stove vis-a-vis the microwave?
So I use the microwave every morning.
For the eggs, you said, right?
Yep, I cook eggs, and I basically just use this bowl right here. It's just a glass Tupperware bowl, and honestly, I just crack 4 eggs into it and scramble them, you know, with a spork.
Okay.
And put the cap on, throw it in the microwave for about 3 minutes.
Okay.
And it cooks them up just fine, scrambled. And then I eat those, and then I eat 2 avocados, and that's my breakfast.
Okay.
And then for lunch is when I start to use the skillet, or use the pot and the pan.
How much power does this draw from solar?
So that's a 700 watt microwave.
Okay.
Think about when you microwave stuff. You don't really ever have it on for very long. It's like 30 seconds to a couple minutes at the most. And I don't do extensive stuff in it too. I don't do anything that's like a 10 or 15 minute microwave deal.
That's just your powdered eggs in the morning?
Yeah, it's just my eggs in the morning. Or, you know what, honestly, it heats up water pretty quick, so I can just put a little cup of water in there and then heat it up and then drop a little, like a tea pouch and have hot tea.
Okay, brilliant.
I don't have to boil it and make a mess and do all that.
So if you were to redo this setup up here for your cooking and your meals, would you do anything differently?
There would be something I would do differently, and I'm still not, I still might do it. What I would do is I would build some kind of shelf that goes up around the refrigerator.
Okay,
So,
some kind of shelf around the refrigerator.
Like a box that come up and then go above the microwave.
Okay.
And then go back down through these cracks. Cause I have just enough space to do it. I could do it with like plywood.
Okay.
And then make it look nice. And then basically have a permanent shelf for this to sit on, because this rocks around a lot.
Okay.
And then what I would do is I'd put a backsplash of some sort on that, so I'd come up on all sides right here. Because the problem is, if I try to cook right here, like with a pan, grease starts to come up and get all over everything, and then I got to wipe the walls down. So I usually just don't do it. I usually just pick this thing up, take it out, put it right there, or take it to a picnic table. But it would be nice to be able to have some protection behind it,
right,
to where it's not messing everything up, and then I can just wipe down that.
Understood.
And then just keep it there, make it stationary, because right now this thing will fly off if I try to drive with it right there.
So what do you do to secure it?
I just put it on top of the bed if I got to drive anywhere.
Understood.
It doesn't weigh anything. It's easy to move.
Moving on to your fridge. I like your collection of fridge magnets.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite one?
Oh man, which one is my favorite one? Honestly, probably the Sandias Crest. That was an amazing place. That's in New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, I hiked up to the top. There's a ski resort up there, but it was in May, so it wasn't open. But it was still really pretty.
Good to know.
Yeah, New Mexico is a beautiful state.
It's one of the places I'll be stopping. If I have time, I'll definitely check out Sandia Crest.
Sandias Crest. It's really pretty up there. If you have any kind of elevation sickness, which I do.
Okay.
I suffer from it. 11,000 feet will get you a little bit with your hiking around, carrying your weight. Honestly though, this place, if I could recommend going anywhere in the United States.
Crater Lake.
Crater Lake, man. That place is amazing. I mean, I've never seen a more beautiful environment in my travels. Anyway.
Okay. So one of my friends, her name's Katie Carney, she collects pins and puts it on the ceiling.
Oh, really?
You're the first one I've seen that collects fridge magnets. That's
That's
awesome.
Why I think is because my mother used to do that.
Oh, that's cool.
Like when I was a kid, I have memories of the fridge just being covered in refrigerator magnets from all the places that they would go together.
So now you have a little bit of home with you.
It reminds me of my mom. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
And they're easily accessible to you. You can literally find magnets anywhere.
No, that's brilliant. Yeah. So with the fridge setup, what do you use it primarily for? And this is the biggest fridge I've seen thus far. How much power does it consume? How practical is it?
It honestly, when the compressor kicks on, it's consuming about 50 watts.
Okay.
So that's not a lot.
Okay.
I mean, I have a 400 amp hour battery bank, and it really doesn't touch it at all.
Okay.
Like when I wake up, if I wake up at 7 o'clock right before the sun comes up, it's still 12.9 volts. So it consumes 50 watts, and it runs just fine. And that's on its highest setting. That's if I click it over to 7. Honestly, I keep it around 4 or 5, because when you put it on 7, the whole thing becomes a freezer.
Okay.
So you could use it as a freezer. It goes down on its highest setting in a normal environment. It will keep everything about 20 degrees inside. And it's got a little freezer box too. If you open it up, it's got, I can make ice cubes and stuff if I really wanted to. Eggs, bacon, and beef. That's about all I eat. I keep a little milk in
Eggs,
here.
bacon, and beef. Heard.
Literally, I'm on a meat diet. Yeah. It's not going to go over well with the vegan. They're going to criticize me over that. Think about all the people on YouTube you follow. Half of them are vegans.
Right.
Which I'm not against it. You do whatever you do, and I don't advocate my diet to anyone.
Right.
It works for me, and I like it.
Okay. So, but what did you say? Beef, bacon, and what? Eggs?
Beef, bacon, and eggs, man.
Okay.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I eat avocados.
All right.
And I drink milk. That's about it. Beef, bacon, eggs, avocados, and milk. And coffee. Lots of coffee.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, please tell me.
Espresso, coffee, and tea. Like I said, I like tea too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so is because of the amount of beef, bacon, and eggs, would you have preferred, or if you had to do it differently, would you have preferred a smaller fridge?
No, honestly, because I had a smaller one initially on my first trip, and it consumed about the same amount of energy.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not like other people. I bartend by trade.
Okay.
So most people they're usually digital nomads of some kind.
Right.
And they would like to have a working desk somewhere to, you know, do what they do. I don't need any of that. I don't need any space like that. To sit somewhere and have like a cleared out area, I don't necessarily need that. So I'd rather have the fridge space because I'm 250 pounds. I'm a big guy and I work out like once, twice a day, sometimes 4 or 5 days a week. I eat a lot. So it's important to me to have refrigerator space.
Understood.
Yeah, that's like priority number one.
Honestly, this is priority number one.
That's priority number one.
Okay. The ability to maintain your diet, right.
Plus, if I ever want to go, like I said, I eat a lot. So if I ever wanted to go on an adventure remotely,
right.
I eat a lot more than most people.
Okay.
So I need more space. I can't live off of a bowl of oatmeal and a banana.
Right.
You know, I need 5 pounds of meat every day.
5 pounds
Again,
of meat.
I'm going to get criticized for this, and you know it. I'm going to get
5 pounds of meat.
I need 5 pounds of meat every day.
There's this word in my country. There's no direct translation for this word. But this word describes exactly how I feel. Yo!
I eat 5 pounds of meat every day.
Okay, and that's this.
So I buy, now this will give me,
Oh, it's grass-fed,
give me some love, right? I buy and I pay more money for it.
So moving on to this over
Yeah,
here.
you can pop that little latch up there if you want to.
This latch?
Yeah, keeps it shut when I'm driving. And then that's just where I keep all my clothes.
Oh, okay.
So I've got your undergarments here and your shorts.
I'm gonna
and
blur
shorts.
this out because there's a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff here that you can't see, and we're a family-friendly content. Okay, we're a family-friendly channel right here,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of things that I'm not allowed to show.
Socks, underwear, shouldn't be looking at that. Anyway, all my t-shirts and shorts are down here.
Okay.
And then I keep all my pants here.
Okay, you have a lot of pants, man.
Well,
That's
honestly,
that's a
I've
lot.
accumulated them over time, and so I don't want to say this, but I don't really do a lot of shirts and stuff. Like half of this is shorts. I got a couple sweaters and a couple shirts, but legs are the only thing on my body where I can find stuff that fit. Because I have 50-inch shoulders and a 35-inch waist. So anytime I buy a shirt, it usually just doesn't fit right. Like I can't really wear button-ups unless I have them tailored, and I'm not going to pay to have that done. So I wear just like simple t-shirts, and mainly I love pants and boots. When it comes to fashion, I get into pants and boots, and then you'll see my collection of jackets over here. That's actually
Yeah.
Yeah, jump up and look at this. These are my coats. Again, I come from a 4-season environment too, so I have all kinds of jackets and coats and stuff.
I have the same one.
Yeah, North Face, Eddie Bauer's like my favorite brand.
Okay, you have 2, 4, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10.
And they're all different styles, so I can look different every time. Again, because I can't buy a lot of shirts to look different every day, or obtain some kind of fashionable statement. I have to rely on jackets and stuff.
Okay, dude, that's a lot of jackets.
I know.
So moving on, where are we? So after this is a PS4.
That's one of my luxuries that obviously could do without, but figured I've got so much power underneath the bed. Why not? Like a day like today would be perfect to jam in here and play PlayStation.
So yeah, it is a groggy day.
I woke up this morning, I was like, man, it's just not going to be a good day. It's horrible outside.
So what do you play?
So right now I'm working on Red Dead Redemption 2 and Far Cry 5. And yeah, that's what I'm jamming on right now.
Okay. PlayStation.
4K TV.
4K, okay. Overkill 4K TV.
43-inch 4K TV, yeah. It's a battery charger for flashlights and stuff.
Okay. What's that?
I kind of just keep that over in the corner so I can access it from the bed.
Wait, how much power are you drawing? And what's your power? It's just solar, and do you have a battery pack too?
So there's solar panels on the roof, yeah.
Okay.
There's 400 watts of solar. So Renogy makes my solar panels.
Okay.
There's 400 watts, and then underneath the bed there are 3 batteries. Now a lot of people are going to frown on this because you're not supposed to interchange batteries, but I did it anyway.
Interchange batteries.
So every battery has slightly different chemistry. So,
okay.
So they don't always last the same amount of time.
Okay.
So if you have a battery bank that consists of different batteries, if you ever look at an electronic device, it'll always have a warning somewhere that says don't interchange batteries. And
Okay.
This is the reason why. If you have one battery that's good and you have one battery that's not so good, that not so good battery will draw down the other one. So you're basically going to kill a good battery with a bad battery.
Okay.
So that's why you don't want to do that. Anyway, I did it anyway because I got them all very cheap.
Okay.
Anyway, there's a 200 amp hour Renogy battery back there. It's a 200 amp hour AGM sealed lead acid, and then there are two 100 amp hour AGM, and I don't remember who makes them. I bought them on Amazon.
Okay.
But it's a total of 400 amp hours, and they're all brand new. So I'm hoping that they'll last a long time. And that was a year and a half ago, and they're still going strong.
Moving on to everything else. This is a huge bed for one person.
Queen size bed, man.
Okay.
I mean, for one person, yeah. I'm a big guy, and I like to roll around back there.
Especially after you work out, right? You absolutely.
I gotta be able to spread out. Like some of these guys who, like you said you sleep in your car. Like,
that car.
Yeah, exactly. That Honda right there. I have tried that before. I had a Prius. And I had that. I believe I had that Prius before I had the van.
Okay.
And I, not by choice, I drove to visit someone and just was so tired I slept in the car along the way. And I woke up in so much pain. It just did not work for me. My body was aching and felt broken from sleeping in a driver's seat.
Right.
Some people can do it. You can obviously do it. I have to have a bed. And it's a very simple bed. That's a $15 air mattress from Walmart. And basically the reason why is because I still don't know today if the time will come when I want to rip everything out of this van and start fresh and redo it all.
Right.
So I didn't want to spend, $400 or $500 on a cheap actual mattress that is, you can't fold it up and put it away or do anything with it. With that, I can just trash it because it's $15 if I ever wanted to change it.
Right.
And I like the idea of an air mattress because if I ever wanted to do anything else with that area, I could just deflate it real quick and throw it somewhere. And then if it gets a hole in it, it's just super cheap. And
I've never thought of that. You can actually use this area. You can take this as a storage.
Yeah.
If you are like taking anything, right?
Well, let's say that you're not going to live in your van right now.
Okay.
Like you get an apartment for the winter. You live in Chicago or something, and you only want to do this in the summer, so you sign a 6-month lease. Well, you could take that bed out super easy, and then the whole van becomes a utility vehicle. You can store stuff back there. It becomes a mobile storage facility too, or you can just transport stuff. You don't have a bed that you can't set anything on.
And you have enough things to actually be self-sustaining in an apartment. I never thought of that. That's pretty brilliant. Did you come up with the idea to have an air mattress yourself, or did someone else?
Honestly, the reason why I have an air mattress is because that first trip I took around the country, I just needed something quick, so I just bought an air mattress. I built that frame and just threw an air mattress on it, and I slept surprisingly well. Like I really enjoyed it because I liked being able to increase and decrease the firmness of it to get it perfect.
Right.
And I sleep on a harder surface, so I just pump air into it, and I just really slept great on it for 2 months. So I was like, I'm just going to keep it. It's not giving me any pain. It's not messing with me. I like the idea of being able to interchange it if I want to.
Right.
Yeah.
And these storage options under here?
Yeah. So we'll start right here with this guy. This is my little mini motorcycle.
Mini motorcycle right here?
That's what I call it, yeah. I don't want to get it out because it's heavy. But
sure.
So this is what I use to cruise around town once I park somewhere and explore a city.
Hold on a moment.
Yeah.
So it's becoming more and more apparent to me how many vehicle dwellers actually have an additional vehicle. Like I'm definitely gonna, it's becoming more and more. I've seen people with, there's someone in this lot who has a boosted board, and I was like, you saw it, right?
I saw those, yeah.
And I'm like, and more and more common. When I was in Fiesta Island, there was someone who had a one wheel.
Yeah, I've seen those too.
And I'm like,
that's a bird.
Yeah. Right, that's a. And there's a bunch of van dwellers and vehicle dwellers in general who have an additional form of transportation. This is definitely something that I want to look into because it's a lot more convenient to park your van somewhere
and keep it there, hold your space, and then go explore a city real quick.
Absolutely. Yeah. So no, absolutely great.
So yeah, I bought this. It's a Dualtron. They don't make these in the United States. I had to have it ordered from Singapore.
Okay.
But yeah, I just use this. It'll carry me. I'm heavy. I'm 250 pounds. It'll carry me about 50 miles on a single charge. and this baby will go 60 miles an hour.
So,
yeah, it's ridiculous. So that's what I use to get around town, and I wear a full face helmet when I ride it.
Full face helmet.
Motorcycle helmet. If you see, there's I told you my collection, my ridiculous collection of boots.
It has a lot of boots.
Well, it is for mobile living, absolutely.
Right.
It's not in if you
have an apartment.
If you have an apartment, yeah, and you've got to walk in. Anyway, it's just kind of random under here. Like I said, I store this.
Okay.
Right next to the door, so I can kind of, because it's 80 pounds, so I can get it in and out pretty easy. I've got my little my Mr. Buddy heater under there.
Actually, you have a Mr. Buddy heater?
Yeah, Mr. Buddy heater.
How often do you use the Mr. Buddy heater?
Well, depending on where I am, but here, believe it or not, I've had to use it every night here in San Diego.
I know, it is ridiculously cold in San Diego.
You check the, so where I come from, we're in Knoxville, it's probably 25 degrees there right now.
Okay.
Or 30, you know, it's January, middle of winter. And it's, I don't know why it feels so cold here, because it's like 55.
Right,
it is. At night, it's like 50. It still feels super cold. I don't know if it's the, yeah.
Wearing a puffy jacket in San Diego.
My jackets make a lot more sense. You know?
Right.
Glad I brought them.
It is ridiculous. I'm wearing 3 layers and this thermal.
I've got a long sleeve shirt on, and these are flannel lined jeans. And I feel completely comfortable. I'm actually still a little chilly. I could wear a coat.
Right.
Anyway, back to this. Again, it's kind of random. There's really no organization down here. I just have some shoes back there.
So if you could, sorry to interrupt, if you could do it differently, would you keep it higher or lower?
Okay, so the reason why I originally went with this height right here is because the fridge that I had to start with, I actually put it right there.
Okay.
So the fridge was underneath the bed because it's such a big box, and it wasn't this fridge, it's a different fridge. It's such a big box, I didn't want it kind of open like this. This whole image right here hadn't entered my brain yet.
Okay.
So I had it right there, and I wanted to be able to build the bed over the top of it. So that's where I came up. I bought the fridge first, then I built the dimensions of the bed right after that. Honestly though, I would probably go shorter.
Okay, shorter.
Because if you look down here, nothing is really that high. So you really don't need,
that was why I asked.
I don't really need the height anymore, unless, and I've thought of this, because I've already built the bed frame, and I don't want to build another one, I could figure out a way to utilize that extra volume by adding in shelves. You know, I could put a plank up here,
right,
and then have some space to set stuff, or so, you know, I could.
You could have like drawers. I've seen individuals who have drawers on this side, and then you open the back doors, and they have drawers on the back side too.
Yeah. So there's ideas that I've got around in my head, and I just haven't done anything about it yet. Honestly, because if you look, there's just not a lot under there.
Right.
I mean, this is all I've got, you know. So,
and like if you could build even like a shoe rack that you can pull the shoes right here.
Do something, have the shoes right here. That I don't have to crawl under here. But the reason why I would probably go shorter is because even my height, I still gotta throw myself up on this bed. I've gotten used to it now, so I don't really notice when I do it, but I just, you know, I just kind of hop up. But I'm a very agile guy, so it's not really that difficult for me.
Right.
And then I wanted to do a bed that's this way because I'm 6'2", and I can't fit horizontally. And the idea of sleeping diagonal just didn't appeal to me. I wanted to be able to lay this way, that way I can open up the bay doors in the back and have a great view and just you know, really be comfortable.
No, this is a great setup, and I agree with you. I don't like to sleep diagonally either.
Something about it, because you're never just gonna sleep straight like that. You're gonna move around, and eventually you'll have your feet hanging off one side, or you'll have to readjust yourself. And this just feels more traditional, like a bed from home.
Okay.
And then, overkill on the TV.
That is 42-inch, right?
43-inch.
43-inch.
It was $200 though. That's why.
Black Friday deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't pass it up.
Right, and 4K and everything.
4K, Vizio, yeah. Jamming the PlayStation on this, I mean, it just adds such a different element to van life, you know.
Honestly, I would do the same. Like I wouldn't play the PlayStation on. I would like watch YouTube videos.
And I do that too. So I stream internet from my phone because I have unlimited through T-Mobile or something, unlimited tethering.
Okay.
So I can watch YouTube. I have Netflix on there, Hulu, all that good stuff. And it's just much more. It's just much better than watching it on your little phone screen.
And was there anything you do over again?
I tried to I actually had cabinets up here at one point, but I didn't really do that well of a job with them. Because the van is not straight. They leaned forward. The doors kept swinging open, and then I put little latches on them, and then that didn't work. And anytime I opened one, stuff would fall out. And then I tried, because it's up above the bed, anytime I wanted to access them, I literally had to jump up here. So that became an inconvenience.
Right.
When you have to do it frequently. It's just like, I don't want to get any, and then you're on your knees trying to dig around and find stuff. So then what I found was I was just putting clothes up there, jackets, and I had like other stuff, I had other stuff in here. So eventually I just turned this into my dresser. And then and then everything else that I had in these is just now under the bed, which is very few things. And then I just put all these brackets up to hang my clothes on. And again, I did this before I drove out to California, realizing I don't need half this stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know why I didn't like drop it off somewhere or donate it before I came out here, but I'm glad I kind of didn't because it's freezing here
It's
now.
freezing here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're happy that you didn't get rid of those jackets because it is freezing here in San
Cold
Diego.
outside, yeah, and it's windier here than I thought. I mean, I knew it was going to be windy, but you know, when I ride that thing around, this jacket works great because it's basically a windbreaker. And I've got a couple of just different styles that I can, so I don't look like I'm the same. Because that's one thing I've noticed that's difficult in a van, is it's hard to, it's a little more difficult to look normal. Like you don't have a lot of space to store a lot of clothing, so I want to look normal. Anyway, so yeah, I like having a little bit of clothing.
Right. So with all of these power supplies or power outlets and things that you need to charge, is there anything you do differently?
So a lot of people say, well, why didn't you put outlets in the walls?
Right. Why didn't you?
The reason why I didn't elect that route is because I don't want to have any reason to take this thing apart unless I'm doing a rebuild.
Okay.
So let's say I put a power outlet right here and one here and some lights up here. Well, if one shorts out or a wire goes bad or just something happens, it either stays that way, stays broken or malfunctioning, because I'm not going to have to pull all the walls down, take everything off the walls to get back there and fix it.
Right.
So I wanted as little behind these walls as possible. So
Okay.
I just elected putting power strips everywhere and having one. Basically, my inverter is underneath this side of the bed, built into the bed frame, and there's 2 extension cords that come out from this being one of them, and then one that's over here. And I just run all my electricity off of that. And lights, like I said, I just charge these batteries up, and honestly, I'll charge these 4 cells, put them in that one flashlight up there, and that flashlight will last me more than a month of just access at night, just lighting the place up to do whatever I need to do. You don't need a lot of light at night. I mean, you kind of crawl in here when you're ready to go to bed, and then that's pretty much it.
How much time do you spend in your van vis-a-vis outside of it?
I guess that's also location based too, because when I was in Knoxville, it was cold, and I spent a lot more time in it, just because it's like when you wake up and it's 20 degrees outside, you don't really want to go outside. It just makes it harder to want to get out and go. Here, I'm never in it. Like the week I've spent here, I basically jump in here to sleep. Sometimes I'll chill in that front seat with the door open and the front door open and just kind of hang out and watch people that are walking by. But that's never more than maybe a half an hour before I get bored and then wander around somewhere.
Right.
Honestly, that's one of the appeals of van life, is always being outside. It's hard to be stuck in here. That's why PlayStation TV for those days that it just sucks.
Like today.
Yeah.
So groggy.
Dreary, windy, and wet. I mean, it's just unpleasant out there.
If you were to do anything in terms of sustainability, what would you do or what would you change?
Sustainability.
What would make this van lifestyle sustainable for you?
What do I feel like I'm lacking for a more comfortable, sustainable life? Oh, man. I've got a pretty good setup, I'm not going to lie, as far as my functionality necessities. So I flip-flop in my head about whether I bought a big enough van, because you see these like Mercedes-Benz with the 170 wheelbase, and they're like 5 feet longer than this one. When I think about what more I could put in here, some people put like showers and stuff in here.
Right.
I don't know if I'd want to do any of that, but it does make me wonder, like having that extra space. But then I think about this. I fit perfectly in a parking spot.
Right now.
My ass doesn't stick out. My front doesn't stick out. It's very cool. Yeah, see, look, I mean, I'm completely clear. Right. And that's any parking lot I go to. Like, I can do a 3-point turn on almost any street because I'm just not that long.
Right.
So having that extended Mercedes, it seems nice, but then it's just like, the bigger the RV, the harder it is to maneuver and deal with.
Okay.
You got to think of people that own like the big Class A's, the huge ones. Yeah, they rarely ever drive them. They take them out once or twice a year, and then they park them somewhere just because you don't want to drive that thing all over the place. Could you imagine trying to live in that? It would just be a pain in the ass. Hence why most of us get stuff like this. A secondary vehicle of some kind.
So you would actually not get a
I
larger
probably
vehicle?
would not. I
Okay.
flip-flop in my head about whether I would like to do that one day, but then in the end I realized how much harder they are to maneuver, and they're just larger, and then because they're Mercedes, you have to rely on Mercedes to fix anything that happens to it, and that's just a super big expense.
Right, I did hear of someone paying like $18,000
Yeah.
to fix
And
their engine.
Actually, the first van I looked at when I started to browse the market was a used Mercedes 170 wheelbase, high top, extended rear. It
Okay.
was enormous, and I liked it being that big because there's something about when you're sitting all the way in the back and you look at the front, it's like way over there. You're like, man, I got a lot of space. It's something fun.
Right.
But then like pulling into small parking lots and just driving on small roads, it's just like, damn, I don't want to do this.
Right.
You'd almost rather just walk somewhere.
But overall, this is a pretty self-sustaining unit.
Right now, yeah, it's pretty self-sustaining. Like I don't really have any discomforts in here.
Now, I'm extremely grateful that I met Josh, and I'm also extremely grateful that I got into this lifestyle not for the flashiness. Like, I've met many van lifers now that are like, so into the hashtag van life on Instagram. All I'm looking for right now is an absolute alternative to apartment life. I'm looking for what works, what's practical, what's sustainable. Again, I'm looking for an alternative to paying thousands of dollars per year. Like I'm fairly confident in saying that I'm done paying thousands of dollars per year for an apartment that I'm not going to own, and simultaneously not have the quality of my life increase. Now, I've learned that I actually require less physical things, and I crave experiences more. Living on the road, it affords you both. No, this life is not for everyone. But for those of you who hear the call from the road, who hear the call to adventure, answer it.